I've got a text.
What the helly?
I've got a text.
Okay, do you need to check your phone before we start?
This week, a hot new bombshell enters the villa.
Um, are we still talking about Labubus today?
Duh. She's the hot new bombshell. She's beloved and misunderstood. She's making a splash and enemies. She's stealing your girl and your man.
Oh, what a bisexual queen. Happy Pride, by the way.
Let's circle back to that. Hi there, welcome back to the Let's Circle Back podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Valentina.
And I'm Hebe.
In today's episode, we are circling back to a particular celebrity, doing air quotes by the way, who may be dominating your social media feed and the streets of your suburban neighborhood. That is no other than the infamous Labubu doll.
The girls who get it, but those who don't worry, we got you today. But first, I'm gonna let a girl speak her truth.
Hi, this is Valentina speaking. I want to address the rumors that I have a terrible microphone. The rumors are true, except hopefully not anymore. They were true, but I changed my mic. So, anyways, hopefully now that that's settled, a reminder that this podcast is not corporate affiliated and all views are our own. So let's talk about Labubu. Why is she the hot new bombshell of the moment?
Okay, I have a wild story. So last weekend, I was at Bibble and Sip. By the way, it's one of the greatest cafes in New York City. And I saw two kids opening their Labubu blind boxes next to me. By the way, I don't think they are real because there's no Pop Mart in the
Oh,
50th Street area. Regardless, they opened a brown one and a pink one. Super cute. And then I looked up and there was this girl standing in front of my table waiting for her order. And she also had a Labubu, a silver one, hooked on her Trader Joe's mini tote, which I want one too. And I was like, oh my God, there's a Labubu invasion. I'm seeing them everywhere. And that is not even the craziest Labubu sighting I've seen so far. I was on the train when I saw someone with like 6 to 7 Labubus as accessories on their bag. Well, I can safely say they're taking over the world before AI could.
yeah, for our listeners who are not familiar, Labubu is this silly little character brought to life in the form of stuffed animals and keyrings from the Chinese store Pop Mart. She was designed by a Hong Kong illustrator named Long Ka-seng. I apologize if my pronunciation is off. I never studied Cantonese. And Labubu is not new by any means. Just for some reason, she's recently going mega viral on Western social media. So everyone is buying their Labubu blind boxes and trying to pull their favorite versions of whatever edition that is. We've seen a lot of celebrity sightings. Simone Biles has a Labubu, Rihanna has a Labubu, Lizzo mentions a Labubu in her most recent song. But I think the celebrity that's been most associated with Labubu is Lisa from Blackpink. Hebe, I don't know if you've seen this, but Lisa has been talking about Labubu for months now. She has so many. She has like the really big ones that cost $300, which I unashamedly also want.
Yeah, no, I think I saw snippets of that interview. But celebrities are definitely not the only ones being crazy over it. Like, if you go on social media, we've both seen videos of these insane lines outside of Pop Mart of people waiting there at 7 a.m. just to get blind boxes. And I think in some area, I think UK is one, Michigan is one, they're no longer selling at Pop Mart locations because the chaos outside the stores was just too much to take. I think it was like a safety hazard. And if you look at resale prices on like StockX, insane. More than my biweekly paycheck, safely to say. I think the true indicator of popularity is the fact that Labubu has a lot, I mean, a lot of dupes.
Shout out to the Lafufus out there.
Yes, let's go.
But yeah, Labubu is so famous right now that she's taking all of your favorite influencers' brand sponsorships away from them for herself. My favorite, by far, we've talked about this, is the One Piece collaboration they did. And there's the Tony Chopper standee. It's not a keyring, it's not a plush, it's very decorative, but it's huge and it's obviously so expensive, but I love it. It's so cute.
No, I think if Labubu expands into the anime gamer space, it would result in the next Big Bang explosion. Because if you look at the figurine prices right now, They can go up to hundreds, if not tens of thousands of dollars. So imagine.
Yeah. I think we've also seen Labubu collaborate with Coca-Cola, and that one was interesting because it's just the Labubu figurines dressed in special branded merchandise with the Coca-Cola branding all over it. And they hopped on that really quick to like turn around those products. Obviously also sold out. Good Mythical Morning this week also posted a video, another video in their series of opening blind boxes. And of course, they got their hands on Labubu blind boxes to open. They were also trying to chase the rare ones throughout the video. So we have Kao Yokoyama. There was like a sci-fi robotic line of Labubus. Uniqlo released Labubu clothing. Actually, that sounds weird. Not Labubu clothing for your Labubus. Labubu clothing for your human body. There was a sick Vans Labubu collaboration that is currently going for more than $3,000 on resale websites. That was obviously super limited edition. It looks like there was only about 3,000 of them available worldwide. So you can imagine how people are probably desperate to get their hands on those.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever came across any of these limited edition ones. But, Labubu is not this one-time new phenomenon. Iconic collectibles like that have existed for years. Exhibit A, the most recent one, Sunny Angels. Like, have you been living under a rock if you haven't seen people carrying these creepy babies on their phones? It's created by this Japanese artist Toru Soeya, and the literal description for Sunny Angels is a little angel boy who likes wearing all sorts of headgears. And it's this mini doll that you can place around your house, on your desk, and recently on your phone.
Yeah, actually, this is really crazy timing because yesterday I got a text from my dad, and turns out he bought me two Sunny Angels hippers. Hippers are the line that goes on your phone or your laptop or stuff. Because he was traveling for work and he saw how popular they were and he thought I would like them.
No, I'm so ready for your unboxing. Pending Labubu unboxing too from me, maybe in the future. I'm trying to get my cousin to get me Labubus from China because I don't think I can find them in the US.
Yeah, it's tough right now.
I'm also going to carbon date us back a little bit more to the previous century with Beanie Babies and Cupid dolls. The latter is, I think, the prototype for Sunny Angels. Personally, I don't own Beanie Babies or Cupid dolls, but I'm really interested to learn if you have collected anything as a kid.
Okay, I didn't have anything crazy. I wasn't like hardcore into collecting. I guess I was also in middle school, so I wouldn't have been thinking about that. But I grew up with a very dedicated Pokemon card collection. Unfortunately, I did lose it all in 2016 when I moved, but I was the type of kid who had like the binders, color coded. I was serious about it.
Yeah, I think my cousins who were gamers also collected them. Yu-Gi-Oh too, Yu-Gi-Oh cards. And I think this is really interesting because I think collectibles, it doesn't have to be in the form of a doll or keychains or anything like that, but just collectibles in general, I think are pretty common to me because I delve into subcultures. Like if you're part of subcultures like the Pokemon slash anime community, K-pop with their photo cards, you'll know that collectibles are not that uncommon, but I think it's really interesting to see how they're becoming mainstream. Like Labubu has no attachment to any sort of IP, I think, but people are now starting to collect them the same way you see like anime fans collect Funko Pops or, Pokemon cards for Pokemon stands.
I've never been called a Pokemon stan before, but I guess that's what I am. Back to the topic at hand. We're seeing so many of these cute little collectibles becoming literal accessories, especially in the case of Labubu. A lot of these characters end up coming out in the form of rings and keychains and bag charms. And I'm really passionate about bag charms. It was a trend that kind of picked up popularity in late 2023. And last year, there was this huge peak in high fashion, small businesses, fandom merchandise. I've seen a lot of fashion journalists credit this trend to Jane Birkin. There are photos from a long time ago, and I feel bad because I can't tell you exactly what year it was, but you can see Jane Birkin holding her bags, and she's decorated them with charms and stickers and just fully personalized them, which is not something we've seen too much until recently. And it goes down to even the most minute details, including decorating a handbag or shoes.
I think you're so right because I remember pre-pandemic, it was all about minimalism. Did you ever wanted a minimal capsule wardrobe? I wanted
Yeah,
one.
I was obsessed.
No, I was trying to recreate it. But as you said, I think we're now seeing a revival of this maximalist trend. And I think Y2K is one of the biggest ones.
You can just do like a quick little social media or Google search. You can see how all these different brands are trying to get in on this trend. So you have Labubu's as bag charms, but there's a K beauty brand named Fui, and they went viral for having a lip product keychain. And I think they might have been the first to hit it big because now you're seeing the Dior lip oil, and Hailey Bieber released a Rode phone case. So you can have your favorite peptide lip treatment on your phone case. Hand sanitizers are low key an OG bag charm. If you get the ones that you can attach around your bag handles, the list really goes on.
I feel a little called out because I have one. And on my work badge, I have Shaun the Sheep, a little Shaun the Sheep keychain. Speaking of bag charms, do you remember or know of Cause?
Of course.
Okay, so I came across this really interesting article a while back talking about how Cause is related to this bigger designer toy movement in the late 1990s and also the early 2000s, rooted or at least was heavily influenced by Hong Kong and Japanese artists, but also here in the US. Essentially, it was like a rebellion against mass produced toys like Barbie. It made toys something meant for kids like playthings to something for adults, something more exclusive. And I think it added this layer of emotional expression, culture, and taste to having toys. And I think Labubu somewhat falls in that same sentiment because Labubu at its core is a toy. It also represented this rise of this creepy, cute aesthetic where people want to tap into niche, weird things to show acquired taste that, hey, I'm not like other girls. It's like a rejection of mainstream manufactured art. It's like music taste. Some people, aka myself, I sometimes deliberately seek out like indie small artists to listen to. So by the end, my Spotify and Apple Music Wrapped would be like, oh my god, this is your taste. You're not like other people. But here's the paradox. Things like Labubu, you bought it to be different. But everyone's also buying the same different things, aka the Labubu. We want to be unique, but we're also kind of like other girls now. Like you can't escape it. Everyone's still the same.
But you know, this Labubu blind box trend isn't all smiles, sunshines, and rainbows of being like, let me express myself. There's also this overconsumption side of it that, I mean, you don't even have to explain it. It's pretty obvious. You're going to go out to buy a blind box. You might not get the thing you want. So you're going to go out and you're going to buy a million more until you get the one you want. It's kind of like a curse. Hebe and I were talking about the MZ generation. And for those who are not super familiar with that term, I'm not 100% sure if it's only applicable to South Korea, but that's the context that I've seen it in the most. And it's kind of the Gen Z young millennial group that really values spending now, saving later. With blind boxes specifically, we kind of see this almost dedication to instant gratification. You know, most young people have low key or high key a social media addiction because we get those little bursts of dopamine when we scroll to a new video or we see how many likes we get on a photo. With blind boxes, the anticipation of not knowing what you're going to get and then either getting something that you like, getting something you dislike, or getting exactly the product you wanted, it triggers that dopamine in your brain. And I hate to say it, but I think it's kind of like a gambling addiction because you're putting money in and you don't know if it's going to yield exactly what you want.
I think you're right.
Isn't it kind of crazy? Maybe it's a little bit better than gambling because you get a little toy out of it anyways, but
It's low key like K pop photo cards.
I agree. I think K-pop photo cards are a perfect example of this because you're buying an entire album for a piece of paper that is smaller than your cell phone. I don't know how many people who listen to this are in the K-pop universe, but I digress. Okay, back to MZ generation. Something else that you see a lot with this group is the idea of luxury and pseudo luxury. There's kind of a weird push and pull of contrasting forces here. Everyone's heard of lipstick being an indicator of recession, how we like to treat ourselves with small purchases in times of economic distress, economic lows. But things like a Labubu, which if you get to buy one at its actual price, it's like a $20 purchase. And then bam, you have like this social status that's associated with the Labubu. And at the same time, with the MZ generation specifically, you see kind of this obsession with flex culture. Something goes viral on social media, you need to have it. Something has a brand on it, a logo, a monogram that's recognizable. You need to have it. It's social currency. You want to be able to show that you're cool, like the celebrities you see on screen or the influencers that populate your social media. Except it's really hard to make money right now and everything's really expensive. So what do? You eat less food to save up a little bit more. Or you find different ways to coupon or get bargain prices. You thrift just so that you can be in without breaking your bank, but still maintaining this illusion. You want to save money to plan for your future, but also we don't know how long our future will be. So we might as well experience life now to the best of our ability.
I think you unpacked it really well. And I think time is something people are also sacrificing, given how many hours they would have to wait outside Pop Mart to open. But I think it's not only just overconsumption thing, or at least it's related to it, but not entirely the same. FOMO, I think, is also a really big factor. Labubu has crazy visibility on social media. If you look at Google Trends, it's hitting new peaks every day with search volume. On TikTok, I just briefly looked up the hashtag Labubu, and I think it has 1.5 million posts related to Labubus. On Instagram, nearly a million. So it's something that it's hard to not see on social media. It's something that everyone else has. And now you're thinking, okay, everyone now has it. It's my time to get it. And I think something else that contributes to this craze is one, everyone have it, but it's also extremely hard to find right now. The scarcity of it. It's out of stock on their website. I mean, buying it for resale at $3,000 is definitely not an option for a lot of people. And for some people, staying in line for hours is just not the option, especially if you have a full-time job.
Really quick, if you are listening to this and you would buy a Labubu for $3,000, can you please reach out to us? I think we can work something out. We're interested in doing business with you.
Backing up to something I said earlier about getting my cousin to get Labubus from China, there are news of people getting caught smuggling tens of thousands of dollars worth of Labubu from overseas. Someone fact check me, but I think I saw that on the news. Not only is it hard to find, there's also extra rare Labubus that people are trying to pull. This relates back to the blind box mechanism Valentina introduced earlier. For some collections, there's like a 1 in 120 chance to pull a specific version of Labubu. And I think that does something to your brain where it urges you to want to try your luck, to find that ultra rare Labubu so you can post about it or have it on your bag and show it off to the world. And to your point, it's honestly kind of like gambling, just testing your luck. Why not?
Well, you know, Hebe, we play the Pokemon card game mobile, and we are always chasing the more rare cards. It's like the same thing. Luckily, we don't spend money on the game, but when you get Pokemon cards in real life, people will do live streams and make careers out of opening Pokemon packs in search of the most high value card of the moment. So it's like fits right in.
Wasn't Pokemon releasing something at a major retailer? It might be Costco, and then scalpers were running and pushing people over to get it. It
Yeah.
might not be Pokemon, it might be some other franchise.
No, it's Pokemon. They were releasing an expansion to one of their trading card packs, and there's videos where scalpers are pushing children out of the way because they know they can sell it for a high value. It's ridiculous.
Remember when toys were just a kid's meal at McDonald's type situation? And now here we are in 2025. Yeah, that only shows the demand for toys or collectibles like this. In Japan, Miffy and McDonald's are doing a collab for, I think, a kid's meal where there's like a Miffy toy that goes with the meal. Scalpers have been ordering like a crap ton of kids' meals, and then they would take the toy but leave the meal behind at McDonald's, so the employees have to just throw away fresh food. FOMO, overconsumption, hand in hand, is causing this wave of just adults lunging for toys like Labubu, Miffy, and whatnot.
What can we learn from Her Majesty the Labubu?
Personalization is key. We're in an age where we just came out of the pandemic. Okay, technically it was like 2, 3 years ago, but we went through some dark times where we thought the world is ending. So people came out of it thinking, okay, YOLO, let me go full out maximalist lifestyle. And we're all very obsessed with just building our personal brand, I need to leave my mark on this world before it explodes tomorrow. So people are going after things like bag charms, keychains, key rings, Labubus to build up that personal brand. And I think something brands need to take, what companies need to take away is that we don't want to get something where you're telling me it's cool. I want something that fits my cool.
I think I've mentioned it a couple times, but some people are buying Labubus and then customizing them because it's not just enough to have the Labubu you want. It has to reflect who you are and what you wanted out of it and what you want to represent. So,
Do you know the Labubu X Pronounce? It's another series in the Monsters Labubu line, and I think it comes with clothing, like wings, and those retail for $300 without reselling.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay, something else I wanted to say is that obviously it's very hard if you run a business and you want to see results. But we started this episode by talking about how Labubu is not new, she's just newly famous. So things like a viral moment like this, sometimes they take a while. If you think about BTS, going back to the K-pop conversation, BTS is the biggest group in the world. They kind of hit their peak popularity, I guess, 2019, 2020 maybe? That feels like a safe estimate.
Mhm.
But BTS has been making music since 2013. Can you imagine if they had just stopped because they weren't worldwide famous?
Pulling it back to collectibles too, Sunny Angels came out in 2004, but I don't think the concepts at the core have changed. It's just they've been repurposed by the general public into something else. Because before it's just standing on your desk at home, but now it's like a charm that you can keep on your bag or on your phone because we're in this era of building our personal unique brands. And something else is pay attention to international and global trends. Globalization is facilitated by social media, where a lot of viral moments or products from Asia, aka the Labubus, the Sunny Angels, are coming over to America via TikTok, what people are seeing online.
And then the last thing that's kind of like an important takeaway is that you should pay attention to niche culture. I always associate this with micro influencers versus macro influencers or traditional celebrities. There's so much power in a passionate group of people who are really dedicated to their craft or to their interests, which is the same as like maybe someone has only 15,000 followers on Instagram, but if they're really active and engaged and they're all like really trust each other, that's way more valuable than like Kim Kardashian posting something and everyone's like, oh, it's just Kim getting her bag again.
And would you agree that gaming in recent years is one of those, I guess, more niche subgroups that have become very popular mainstream via arcane, adaptations? What else? I feel like I'm missing something else. Gaming could be a really good example of how fandoms become mainstream because everyone have, regardless if you play League of Legends, have seen Arcane. I mean, just look at the Fenty Arcane collab. Gaming has nothing to do with cosmetics, but she's selling out those lipsticks. I personally really wanted the one with Caitlyn on it, but I don't know if I want to spend that many dollars on the bundle. But I think, to your point, this could be a whole different episode in the future. Spoiler alert.
Ooh.
We're both pretty big on gaming, but different types of games. So that kind of wraps up our conversation on Labubus. This breakdown of why everyone wants one, why no one is immune to Labubus.
Why Labubus are the new invasion, not aliens, not AI.
Oh yeah, they can take me any day. I will not be taken down by AI. Let me not jinx that actually. Knock on wood.
To wrap up the episode, as we did last time, as we plan on doing every week, we're going to talk about our favorite campaigns, brand moments, social media trends of the week. Hebe, you want to kick it off?
Yes, this is actually something Valentina and I thought about doing because it's taking TikTok, well, actually social media in general by storm. And that is the Hunger Games Sunrise on the Reaping audition. So, to those who have no insight into this, Lionsgate is basically making the movie adaptation of Sunrise on the Reaping. And they decided it's a good idea to do a casting online with some of the most unserious group of people known as the Gen Zs. So people have been submitting the most unhinged videotapes of themselves, I don't know, playing President Snow's Milk, doing parodies of Sky Jackson's audition, or using like a Jennifer Coolidge impression for Katniss's monologue as their audition. And I cannot imagine the producers of the movies having to sit there and comb through all these videos to find a serious audition tape.
Should I do my best Jennifer Coolidge impression right now? One try.
Go for it.
Oh my god, Peter, you're gonna kill us. I don't actually know what she sounds like.
I think you're kind of spot on.
Can't take myself seriously right now. I'm gonna decide if we cut that or not later.
I think you should keep it.
I can do a really good Minecraft villager impression.
Let's hear it.
Her. Her.
Wait, you have to cut this into the Minecraft segment. Oh my god.
Should we do a live Hunger Games audition for Let's Circle Back? I think my favorites are the District 1 bullies because they are like making animal noises.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hey Mitch. More like, hey bitch. That's my favorite. And it's so big that even Cat's Eye, which I hope
Gnarly.
people are familiar with, given that we introduced them in the last episode, they also tagged onto this trend. It's crazy.
Yeah. And then my choice was slightly different. Gentle Monster did a collaboration with Bratz, and they released a lot of campaign footage that featured Karina from Espa as like the forefront or like the face of the brand for this. And it made me so happy. I love Gentle Monster. I love Bratz. And I think having Karina do it was so smart. Now, I know Karina's kind of in some heat. So I'm saying all this outside of that with a focus on Gentle Monster and Bratz specifically. Their collab is very Y2K. It's very like almost retro future because Bratz is a little bit of an older franchise, but everything is very metallic, futuristic. I think one of the big selling points of this collaboration is that the glasses fold up so you can
Mm-hmm.
store them and surprise, surprise, hang them on your bag as a charm.
Yeah, what a perfect example for the podcast overall.
And you know who also went to the launch event in California? Cat's Eye.
I want to be their friends.
Cat's Eye, please listen to our podcast.
Can we please host you?
I think that kind of brings us to a close, right? I feel like this was an amazing conversation about Labubu's trends, trinkets, and what we saw this week that made us laugh and got us excited.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Let's Circle Back. Be sure to follow us on Spotify, YouTube, and our other socials to keep up with the latest. And let us know if there's anything you want to hear us chat about. I'm Hebe.
And I'm Valentina, and we will see you next time.